at my house and get my daughter to stop me. Please, hurry. I'm a awesome drive.
So right, she just got that right now?
Yes.
Who did it? The guy that's walking to your door?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name, ma'am?
Robin.
Robin. Okay, where's your daughter at, ma'am?
She's on the couch. She's on the couch.
Good Tuesday morning to you and welcome to Court TV Live. I'm your host, Julie Grant. At this hour, we're getting you up to speed on a brand new live trial that starts today. This one's happening in Tennessee, where defendant Robin Howington is accused of fatally shooting her 5-year-old daughter. But was the shooting an accident or was it a murder? Well, that's what the jury will have to decide as they hear the case evidence. Testimony resumes later this hour. While we wait, Court TV anchor Ashley Wilcott has a look back for us at this family tragedy.
September 14, 2019, police responded to a shooting at the home of Robin Howington in Knoxville, Tennessee. Once there, police discovered Howington's 5-year-old daughter, Destiny Oliver, shot in the chest. After being transported to the hospital, investigators discover Howington attempted to destroy her phone, claiming she was afraid it contained evidence of drug sales. Howington spoke with police over 2 hours, telling 3 conflicting stories of how her daughter was shot, saying first that an unknown male entered her home and shot her daughter, then changing that to Destiny's biological father, Antoine Oliver, shot Destiny. Finally telling police her 2-year-old son shot Destiny. Investigators discovered Howington rearranged the crime scene and tried to stash the gun in a nearby bush. During her second interview, her story changed once again, claiming the gun went off when Destiny's biological father took it from Howington during an argument. Police arrested and charged Howington with tampering with evidence and later added the charge of first-degree felony murder. If convicted, she could face 60 years in prison.
All right, there was Ashley Wilcott reporting there. Now, as this case kicked off officially on Monday, we're showing it today. You're going to see all of what happened. We're going to get you all caught up so you're ready to go when things kick back off live. Let's listen to the opening statement. First, the prosecution lays out this defendant's multiple stories that she told to law enforcement. Take a look.
September the 14th, 2019. Destiny Oliver, just 5 years old, along with her brother, just 2 years old, and her mother, Robin Howington, the defendant, in this case, went to a park. They would have played, they would have laughed, just like any kids, just like any family. And they would return home. What was different about this night was that was the last time Destiny Oliver would ever play in the park. That's what this case is about. That 5-year-old little girl, her life far too short, and one person's deceit, lies, and deception cover up their crime, their negligence. And the person's the defendant, Robin Howington. The evidence will show that on that evening, all 3 of them returned home to 502 Boston Avenue in Knox County. They returned home at approximately 8:42 in the evening. And about a minute later, you'll see all 3 of them enter the house. So I'll tell you how we know how we're seeing them enter the house. At 508 Balsam Drive, the house next door had a home camera on the front porch. And that camera is situated angling towards 502 Balsam. So at the top of that screen, we can see the 502 Balsam property. That's the defendant walking back in the house at approximately 8:50. The things are about to change. Because at 8:53, Robin Howington calls 911. Destiny's been shot. That's what she says. Destiny's been shot. And a random black guy did it. That's what she says. You're going to hear that 911 call during this trial, and that's what she says. Destiny's been shot. It's a random black guy. Just walked in off the street and popped Destiny. That's what she told 911. But there's more going on during that 911 call than Robin Howington tells 911. And the reason we know that is because of 508 Balsam. Because that camera catches some other things going on. At 8:53, the defendant's going to exit that house and hide that gun under a bush. She's going to hide her gun. The gun that was used to shoot and kill Destiny under that bush. She'll go outside the house. All while she's on the call with 911. She's hiding her gun. But Destiny bleeding out on the couch. Alone. She is hiding the gun. While her daughter dies alone in that room. It's Destiny. And that's what this case is about. You're going to hear the first law enforcement officer that arrived on the scene didn't quite know what to expect. Had a shots fired call. Didn't quite know. So he approaches the residents with some caution. He's going to enter that residence and he encounters Miss Howington. Miss Howington sitting on the couch and he sees a foot sticking out behind her. She's on the phone. She's not holding her daughter. She's on the phone. And he asks, has anyone been hurt? She doesn't say a word. She just turns and points. And that's when Officer Cummings realizes 5-year-old Destiny shot. He sees the wounds. We hear testimony that he was trained as an EMG. So he understood what was going on. And he scooped all 56 pounds of that little girl up. He takes off running outside that house. And he's calling for help. You're going to see on that video, a trial, you can see Officer Cummings running out of that house with that little girl in his arms. You're also going to hear a trial. Law enforcement continue to respond to the scene. Detectives Riddle and Wardlow are going to arrive at the scene. They have a report that a 5-year-old girl has been shot dead in her house. It's a serious crime. You're going to hear that the defendant continued to say it is a random black guy. And she speaks with Detective Riddle at 502 Boston. Destiny is going to be transported across the river to UT Medical Center. She has a gunshot wound in her hand and her chest. You're also going to hear testimony from the KPD officer that transports Robin Howington to UT Medical Center. They got Destiny, they got her out of there as quick as they could, and they got her to UT to get help. Detective Riddle, he's just trying to get some idea of what's going on. Who did that? Who's the random black guy? He's got a 5-year-old girl that's been shot and killed. It's a random black guy. One thing was, throughout all of the defendant's inconsistencies throughout this entire case, there's one consistency. There's one consistency. Not once did she take responsibility for anything. Not one time did she take responsibility. God's destiny. Get shot, killed. Ladies and gentlemen,
That tells you everything you need to know.
Ooh, the defendant telling multiple stories. Remember, her daughter is the victim here. This is so tragic. We're going to hear what the defense has to say in their opening statements in just a moment. We're going to hit that break. Don't go anywhere. Court TV Live continues right after this.
First parents in America to be charged in a mass school shooting.
Involuntary manslaughter and 4 counts of it.
The gun recovered from the shooter was the same gun that was purchased by his father.
Jennifer was found guilty.
Who is responsible for storing the gun?
Now the school shooter's father is set to stand trial.
My husband is.
The school shooter dad trial. Live coverage this week following jury selection on Court TV.
To Court TV Live, I'm Julie Grant. So we've got 2 trials going today. We're going to have the Rust movie shooting case resuming later this afternoon, and then another brand new case that you really haven't seen yet out of Tennessee. It began yesterday. We filmed it, and we're rolling out all the parts of it this morning before things start up live. We just saw the prosecution. This is the mother-daughter murder case. A 5-year-old child shot to death. Her mom is the defendant. She told various stories to police as to what happened. Now let's hear from her defense counsel in opening statements.
We've talked already, and you will hear again, that she was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder for about 18 months, medically treated. And the police go through her purse at the end of the interview and ask her what every one of them's for, and that's what they were. She tells them that she's been raped and she's nervous speaking in a room with 2 male police officers. There's a female police officer right out in the hallway. They don't offer to bring a female in. The 2 of them sit there and talk to her, and when she says she's been raped, Mr. Riddle there loses his mind. He jumps up and starts yelling and screaming, "Are you kidding me? That's what you're concerned about? Your daughter's dead." Now, how do you think that helps with PTSD? This is the interview room that we're in. About an hour into it when they're talking to her, they keep telling her she blamed it on the baby's dad. You're going to hear by the end of this, the first person in that interview room who mentions the baby dad is his partner, Mr. Wardell. What about him? He can't be happy that you got this baby, you're not in a relationship with him, but you got this other boyfriend. And then they start talking about all the kinds of problems they've been through. And they start talking about, yeah, we kind of think this might be a domestic. And then Mr. Wardlaw says, I'll tell you what, I'm going to shoot straight with him. I believe the baby dad did. I think he's mad because you got another boyfriend now. I think he came in, he just shot that daughter, your daughter. He might have just been trying to scare you. Riddle there says, Mr. Hammer says, I think he's right. He hit it right on the nail. He did it. We've known it was domestic all along. They ask her, do you think he's capable of doing that? It wasn't him, I promise. And they stay on her. It's him, it's him, it's him. And she finally says, all right, you're right. Okay, you're right. Okay. I can't do this anymore. She didn't lie about him and say he did it. They did. She heard 1 gunshot. Tells them over and over again. Heard 1 gunshot. Well, we think she shot more than once. So they're telling her lies that she knows aren't true. She's a woman suffering from PTSD whose daughter has just been shot. They don't allow her to ride in the ambulance with the daughter. They take her to the hospital. She never sees her daughter again because the daughter is getting treatment. Truth of the matter is, and I think they'll probably tell us this, the daughter was probably dead in the ambulance. They tried to revive her. They had no luck. They got her in the hospital. They tried a couple more times. They had no luck. They come out and tell them, I'm sorry, your daughter's dead. She goes straight from that room being told your daughter is dead. They drive her to the KPD interview room at about 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. She's there for the next 3 or 4 hours being questioned by these guys. For a mother, how is a mother going to be in her right mind? I'm talking about the poor guy at that point. So she's not in her right mind, and they're asking her questions, and they're telling her things that aren't true. You know, we think you moved the shell casing. There should be a shell casing in that house. You're going to hear the shell casing was in the gun jammed. They found the shell casing. It was there. We think that we don't know if it even happened there. There should be a bullet there. There's no bullet. It's not in the couch. It's not in her. It was in a cushion on the couch. But they're just telling her stuff because they can't wait. They can't give this grieving mother till the next day to talk. No. We got to do this right now. At 3 o'clock in the morning, we're going to have you sit in an interview room with 2 male police officers. And if you mention the fact that a police officer raped you, we're going to yell and scream at you. So that's going to help. So the woman who is not in her right mind is taken in there and held 3 to 4 hours being questioned by professional murder investigators, which means it can't be an accident because professional murder investigators are handling it. There is no way, there is no fact, there is no set of facts that's going to allow them to accept that this is an accident. They've taken a family tragedy, a horrible tragedy. She's very upset seeing him there on the wall. She has not laid eyes on him in 5 years because DCS and the courts wouldn't let her until this case was resolved. He disappeared in the night that night. While they've got her, taking her to the hospital, they take someone to a family to stay. Her daughter's gone. Her mother's died during this, her dependency in this case. She hadn't seen since it happened because they have never seen an accident. They have never seen an accident, a tragedy that they can't make worse. Think about that for a moment. She is charged with felony murder. That is first-degree murder. Under state law, that's about the worst charge you can be charged with because of an accidental shooting involving a 2.5-year-old. So you listen carefully. They just stood here and told you. It was about contradiction. She's texting this Joey kid who sometimes painted her house, does some yard work. She's texting him right after it happens and says, will you go get that gun? Shot Destiny. Immediately, she tells him, shot Destiny. She tells them as they eventually get around to it, she made up the other story to protect so he wouldn't have to live with this. Once she has done that, she's sticking with that story. Is that the best idea at the moment? Maybe not. But again, she is a grieving mother who cannot be in her right mind. She is suffering from mental illness from this PTSD. She's treated for it. A gun goes off. Her daughter is grievously shot. When they talk to her on 911, they say, is she responding? No. Blood is pouring out of her chest, he tells her. She's not responding. She still has a 2.5-year-old child running around in the living room, crying and screaming in panic. Not in his right mind, probably at that point. And there's a gun on the floor. She takes the gun out, she puts it in the driveway. You saw that photograph of Charlie Brown's Christmas tree. She hid that gun under that bush. When you see the photographs they took that night, when you go around that corner, it's pitch black leading up to that bush. Drops the gun on the ground. She wants the gun out of the house. Why is her daughter dead? Because of the gun. That is the enemy of the moment. Get it out of the house. So she takes it out there and drops it. Some of the things that she did, some of the things she said don't make sense. They're irrational. Sort of like what someone might say if they're not in their right mind. And I told you I wouldn't ask you to do this, but you're going to have to at some point ask yourself, if you were in her position, would you be making rational decisions in that moment? Would you be held to the highest charge in the land, being in that condition at that moment? Should you be? Have we got no compassion for a grieving mother in an accidental shooting that destroyed a family? God, let's hope so.
All right, so he's going with the accidental shooting story, also saying that this woman is a rape victim. I want to point something out before we dive in, and there's a lot to dig into here. You heard the audio dropping out from time to time. That's because her 2-year-old son's name was being mentioned, and we can't broadcast his name over the air. So when you hear those little pauses in the audio, that is why. We got a lot to talk about here. The discarding of the firearm, the wiping it down first, the soaking her cell phone in water. What did she want destroyed on that phone? Let's talk about it all with our guest. Still with me, former special agent and supervisor at the Department of Homeland Security. He's also a firearms instructor, Dr. Jason Piccolo, and forensic death investigator, professor, and the host of the Body Bags podcast, Joseph Scott Morgan. All right, so much to dig into here. I think perhaps the most stunning fact we heard from the defense, he's saying that Robin Howington was raped. That's a very serious thing to put before a jury if it's not true. And he's saying that investigators kind of balked at that idea when she told them that. I want to get your thoughts on this first. Professor Joe, let me begin with you, please.
I don't know. He was all over the board in his opening there. And to be honest with you, Julia, I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of forensic evidence in this case. He's having to do everything that he can possibly do to deflect away from that, particularly related to this firearm event, and also whatever evidence that the police may have collected from her person. And so, yeah, you throw up the R word like that in this environment, I think that it's an attempt to get, to put the jury back on their heels. We can't lose sight of the fact that we've got this precious little angel laying there in this environment, and she is quickly slipping away. And to that point, I think one of the big questions, particularly as a parent and as a grandparent, why isn't she covered with blood? Why isn't she doing everything she possibly can, taking heroic measures to save this little angel's life? And I don't see that occurring here.
Mm-hmm. Right. There's a lot that doesn't make sense. I'm with you, Professor Joe. So he's saying she's a rape victim. We know the child's a homicide victim. He's also saying the shooting's done accidentally. Dr. Jason Piccolo, why in the world does she wipe down the firearm? She admits to wiping it down before throwing it in the bushes near the home where they were living. Who might she be covering for? Because if it wasn't her that used the gun, could it have been her 2-year-old? We know that was one of the stories. The 2-year-old shot his sister in the chest. What do you make of all of this, please?
Well, I think you brought up a good point. One of the stories, as she said. Now, in this point, fight or flight, she's in a self-preservation mode. And allegedly, maybe she was wiping down the fingerprints to get rid of any of her fingerprints, any of her residue, any of her DNA on there, and then trying to dispose of the weapon. So there's a lot of different stories. I think she was in a self-preservation mode. And she said, hey, you know what? The police are going to come. I need to make sure that I'm not the suspect.
Appreciate it, Dr. Jason. Professor Joe, back to you, please. Let's talk a little bit about the phone. We know that police believe she was involved in drug activity. Police believe there was evidence pertaining to her daughter's shooting on that phone, yet she ran it under running water to try to destroy it. You mentioned a lot of forensics. I would imagine you're particularly interested in what the phone has to reveal.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely, Julie. And you know, those that are much brighter than I are, you're going to see this case, just so that everyone understands. If you enjoy forensics, of course, we don't enjoy the death of or celebrate the death of a child, but just from a trial watching perspective, you're going to see digital evidence people that are going to be presenting on the stand, and they're going to talk about the dynamics of attempting to destroy data, how successful or unsuccessful she might have been at attempting to do that. Now, we can speculate all day long about what evidence may have been on there that she was attempting. I'm thinking physical evidence right now, contact trace, anything like that, but you would expect to find that sort of stuff on the phone because it's her phone. But what is contained within that phone? What kind of data could possibly be on there? And I got to tell you, if there is evidence of drug involvement relative to her, and those kids are in that house, that is not going to bode well for the jury members.
You're right, Professor Joe. They're going to really be mad at her with the way she was shaking and crying there with her defense attorneys open. I don't know what to think of this lady. The jury's still out, as we somewhat say.